How did that work? That's what it's one. That's not supposed to look good.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. We left off last week with Sif Zayin that Hamafkid et Chaver ben Kalim ben Moiz v'Amar Tenli Pigdoni v'Amar Lai Hashomer Eini Yedea Ana Hinachti. I don't know where it is. That's called Pesheya and you're chayav. Which means if you forget where you put it, it's called a Pshia and you're chayav. And the question that we ask from the Achronim is that very often in Shas, you find that shikha, forgetting something, is not a pshia. Where do you find that shikha is not a pshia? First of all, in Hilchas Tefillah, we said, if a person said they're going to daven, and then all of a sudden forget to daven, then they're allowed to daven over. It's not called a mezid or pshia. It's called a shogeg. No. I forgot to daven. So it's called a shogeg. You're allowed to do tashlumin. So how come over, and there's another case, very important case. Okay, new kasha. You hear the kasha? Here's the kasha. Kasha is that we said that if someone puts something on your, an evan, hiniach evan al cheikai, you put an evan on your lap, and you forgot that it's on your lap, and you got up, you're chayiv for the mazeh, because adam would lo'ilam, but you're potter and dal dvarim, because you're not a pshea, you're an oinus. So it means you forgot that the thing is in your lap, and you got up, you're not considered a pesheya. So why, when you buried something in the ground, and you hit it in a good spot, and you forgot where you put it, why all of a sudden there are you called a pesheya?
From the beginning, you know that was mostly going to happen.
Oh. So what you're saying is that really it's chaluk. Really the pshat is like this. I think this is the pshat that I understood the best. So I was told, I was told that when Dave Khan was here, he gave a shear. He gave a shear to the on this question, and he gave 7 answers. Shear. Couldn't find the recording. Well,
I mean, one is another. If you have to return it, or I'm not returning the item, I will give it back to you. Or because
no, but I lost it. My tiny is I lost it.
One receiver says because of your mazik when I do that.
The receiver says that you're mazik because you put someone's thing in a place that you can't return it. So the way he said it is like this. The way that he said it was like this. That you're not be'etzem chayiv. You're not be'etzem chayiv. Shikha is taka oinus. When you forget something, it's taka considered an oinus. Okay? So you forgot, and it's an oinus. However, there's a pshia that you didn't bother setting a reminder to remind yourself because you know that maybe you'll forget. Okay, so when you give me the thing to watch, I put it away. I put it away in such a good hiding spot that I myself should consider it the possibility that maybe I'll forget where I put it. So memela, you're right. Forgetting it later is an oinus. Forgetting where I put it later, that's taka an oinus. But the pshia is originally, when you put it there, you should have set yourself a reminder to remind yourself where you put it. Because you know that there's a possibility that you'll forget. Therefore you're chai for the pshia. Mashein came by the stone, you're right. Maybe you should have set yourself a reminder. But that's grama at that point. So for Nezikin, I'm potter. Because alt the fact that I didn't set myself a reminder, l'chatchila. There's 2 ways to answer that question. The one way to answer that question is that by the stone on my lap, maybe I'm not mechuyev to set a reminder because at the time that I put it there, I was convinced that I would remember where it is. It's not the type of thing that you forget. So even though I forgot later, and it's an oinus and I forgot later, but at the time that I put it there, maybe it's not so likely that I'll forget, and therefore when I got up, it's an oinus, but I never was pesheya in the first place. Or you could add and say, you're right. when you put the stone on your lap in the first place, you should have set yourself a reminder to figure out. Don't get up until you check your lap. But I didn't do that. So that not doing it was a pshia. But when I taka got up, I was an oinus. So mamela alts nezikin, it's only a groma. Because I damaged you because yesterday when I put it there, I forgot to send a reminder. That's only a groma. Alts the getting up itself, that's an oinus. Mashenkin by a shomer, the pshia is part of the whole chiyav shmira. So therefore the pshia originally when you put it there is mechayiv you. Now therefore, in the case of the bus,
the pshia only happened a week later. It doesn't make a difference. The pshia happened.
It's all part of the shmira. Because by Shmira, it's all part of my acceptance of the Shmira. I accept it to be Shomer, and I had a Pshia in my Shmira because I put it in a place and I didn't set myself a reminder where I put it. And right now, that Pshia is what's making it that I can't give it back to you. So therefore, that Pshia makes sense. Okay? So that would be the Pshat. So the Pshat would be that the Chiluk is whether you, that's how he wants to say it. But
this is only according to Nesivas. There were Cholkim with the Nesivas last week.
And there are those that say stamazay. If you're a shomer, then you're mechuyev, not to forget. And it's not the same thing. So you are chayv. So according to most of the answers, the case of the bus that we talked about last week, when you put it on top of the bus and you forgot it up there, I'm not sure why the poskim were nemming on that you should be potter. It would seem to me like basically you're a shomer and you put it up there and then you forgot later. So if the pshat is that you should have set yourself a reminder, you should have set yourself a reminder. Unless you're going to go with the teretz that it's the type of thing that it's very normal. It's very normal, and it didn't occur to me that I would forget about it at that time. So it's not a pshia that I didn't set up myself a reminder. So then I walked off the bus, that's an einus.
Or it could be, it could be the whole time that you're mechuyev. In the case of the shemer that forgot it was is that since it's in my possession, I can't swear that I don't have it because I do have it. It's in my backyard. I know that it's in my backyard. I don't know where in my backyard it is. I can't tell the owner.
You're saying there is a teretz like that. He brings down from the Ulam HaMishpat, from the Makar Baruch, that it's because you can't make a shvuah where that you don't have it. But here I can make the shvuah that I left it on the bus. Go find it. Go call Eged, and that's it. It's not my problem. Okay, could be.
My survey said that it seems every possible that you are.
I think it's going to be a machlokes. I think it's going to depend on some of these cases. Okay. By the way, just shloshim yom koydem achag. A Gevaldika case. I don't have a psak on it, but it's a great case. Is that I was going away for Pesach. I have this expensive schnapps. I have this really expensive stuff, and I put it by you, and I said, "Look, I'm going away, and you sell it with your chametz." And they might say you forgot to sell it. So is the and now, that's it. It's done. You can clean out your sinks with it, but it's finished. So, is the shomer chayav or not? So that's a case of forgetting, right? There was a shikha that he forgot to sell. So is he an oinus that he's a shikha on that? Or there's a pshia there that he should have reminded himself to sell it somehow or other?
Today it's automatically sold already. I mean, today it doesn't matter. You say well, chamir, and you have it.
You look chamir on a $1,200 bottle of wine, you know. So vodka.
Very expensive.
Okay, it's very expensive. No, it's not called. No, maybe you want to say it goes into.
Regarding to the mechira, they keep in mind for those that don't include certain things. It's usually the machshava to cover these type of incidents.
You're getting out of the shaila. That's not the point. It's not the point.
Because if there's no damage, what's in mechuyev? L'maisa at the end of the day.
No, fine. But it wasn't included. L'maisa. Maybe it was a commercial setting that it's not everything's included. And I don't know if Rabbanim are so quick to say it was in the part of the house that it wasn't being sold. I totally forgot about it. He put it in his wine thing. He didn't sell his wine. This happened to be a bottle of schnapps, but he didn't sell that area of his house. He put it into his wine fridge. I don't know. He didn't sell it with his chametz. So is the shomer chayiv? So I guess it would depend. If you put it in a place that you're not going to be selling, and you should have, and then you have to remember to take another step later to move it into your cabinet that you're selling. So the pshia is not that you forgot. But then, according to this, there will be a pshia that you didn't remember in the first place to remind yourself that, look, I'm putting it here, but I got to move it before Pesach. So you have to set yourself a reminder somehow or other. So, and this is the psak of the Sha'ar Ephraim. The Sha'ar Ephraim paskins that the guy that forgot to, the shomer that forgot to sell the chametz is takachayev to pay. It's interesting because really, it's hezek she'ein nikar or whatever, but al tchiv shmira you're chayiv because shomrim you're chayiv for that because otherwise you can't return the item.
You don't return the item. I can say I make a call.
Yeah, but it's you were mazik it, right?
Mazik it, but it's still a hezek she'ein nikar.
I think for shmira you're chayiv. Okay, so al kopanim, that would be another example, right? The case that we spoke in Shulchan Aruch is forgetting where you put it. But here will be another example of forgetting, okay? Now, that was Sif Zayin. The next few seifim are that we learned together a few of the Gemaras, and the Gemaras all talk about Tchilasoi b'pshia v'soifoi ba'oines, which is Seif Ches, Tes, Yud, Yud Aleph, Yud Beis are all about this. And basically we said that the classical example of the Gemara was you left your door unlocked and then the animal died. Or even more, you left your door unlocked and the animal did leave and then it died over there. So Machloikas Abai and Rava, L'maisa we paskin that you're chayiv, but you're only chayiv if you can attribute the oines that came later to the pshia. So, if you left the door unlocked, and then it went out, and it went to a place with very foul odor and very foul smell, and it died over there, so what ended up happening is because of your pshia. And then we said, let's say you parked the car that you were being shomer on in a bad spot, because it could get hit by a car, and in the end what happened was a coconut fell, which is an oines, so you'd be chayiv, because had you not done the pshia, the oines would not have happened. There's a light connection over there between the oines and the pshia. But there has to be a light connection between the oines and the pshia. Okay? But in the case of the coconut, the pshia that you did actually was more than the oines that ended up happening, right? Because you were peshia that maybe the car would have gotten smashed, and the only thing now what got smashed was the windshield, right? But let's say you're peshia less than the oines that ended up happening. Are you chayav for the whole thing? So two examples. One case was like this, Maisa Shaya. There's a mover, and they move the stuff. They're moving a family from Lakewood to Jackson or whatever, and the mover loaded up the car. They get to they're on the way, and on the way they get rear-ended by whoever's driving. So they get rear-ended by the guy, and the furniture in the car, in the truck, goes flying and stuff breaks. So the case came to Beis Din. Now why did the case come to Beis Din? The reason the case came to Beis Din is because the customer wanted to file a claim against the mover's insurance. But the problem is that the mover's insurance, even though it says fully insured, didn't really insure anything, l'maisa. Because apparently fully insured means that they pay by the pound, but not according to the value. So if they pay by the pound, you have a very expensive piece of furniture or whatever you have it doesn't make a difference. They're not going to really cover the cost of the furniture. It's very, very minimal. Apparently that's how movers insure things, just for future reference. So it's by weight. It's nothing to do with the value of the items. So Mamela, the guy came to Beis Din saying, this guy says he's fully insured. In the meanwhile, his insurance won't cover even a third of my damage. But once the case came to Beis Din, the Beis Din opened up the case a little bit. Then the Bezdin says to the customer, by the way, were you satisfied with the move in general? So the customer says, this mover, actually, now that you mention it, I would never use this guy ever again. This guy's a horrible mover. Why? He says, because I saw the way that they loaded my stuff into the car. They didn't wrap it with those blankets and everything like that.
They secured it.
I don't know if they secured it or not, but they didn't. So he asked the guy, why didn't you wrap it in the blankets? Well, we did 2 moves that day. We didn't have enough blankets. This was a very close move, just from one neighborhood to the other. The other one was to a different city. So Lamaisa, we put it in the thing, and it's really very normal. But Lamaisa, we didn't use the blankets. Okay. So he said, Lamaisa, based on the accident, would the blankets have done anything? He said, no, it wouldn't have done anything because the way it fell had nothing to do with the blankets. The way it fell was in a way that it wouldn't have made a difference. It was an impact in a way that the blankets wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever. So what are the blankets for? The blankets are to protect from scratches and things like this. But if it really falls with an impact, the blankets aren't going to do anything. So now the guy says, okay, so now that you mention it, so also b'pshia v'soifa ba'inus. L'maisa they were p'shia because they didn't wrap the blanket. They didn't wrap the stuff. But it's soifa ba'inus because the Maisa, what ended up happening was that they got rear-ended and all the stuff went flying.
What's the shaykhis from the p'shia to the inus?
Oh, so what's the shaykhis is there a shaykhis between the p'shia and the inus? So if the blankets wouldn't have been so do you go for the taina of the mover? That means there's no connection over here.
I mean, we never say that because we said the Aver would have heard it more. We toilet, but we toilet it was in the market that it was nignav would not have been nignav in the place of mishumar.
So you're saying all you need is a tenuous connection.
Yeah.
So you're just answering your own question.
Saying that,
you asked a question, you said an answer now.
Correct.
Okay. Just go ahead. Okay. So just keep it to yourself now. So the question is, what's the connection? He's saying you don't need a major connection. Any tenuous connection is enough, as long as you could argue and say it wouldn't have happened with lule that, right? So over
Even
here,
that you don't have.
what?
Even that
You don't have. But let's say you could say there's a tenuous connection. The shaila that the Dayan wanted to present was that over here, the pshia was only on scratches, not on destroying it. Because on destruction of the furniture, the thing, there's no pshia on that. It makes no difference whether there's a blanket or not. The stuff fell out of the truck and the blanket's not going to make a difference. So there's a pshia on scratches. What's the value of scratches? A few $100s. Lamai said the stuff's worth $1,000. So if he's pshia on a few $100s worth of scratches, does that make him now, he's liable for oinus of the entire thing or not? That was the shaila.
It also depends on how you're selling it. If you're selling it that the blankets are going to protect if something else breaks.
Right, apparently that's not what they're saying. They're saying that the point of the blankets is that when you're putting in and out of the truck, they're very thin. It's not a whole fluffy thing. The point is, it's just a wraparound that it protects it, that when it's coming in and out of the truck, it won't get scratched. And all. So they're taka pesheya, letting you in the scratching.
And it doesn't help with like moving, meaning the blankets keep it from...
Right. The stuff. Apparently, let's say the stuff got hit and the truck opened, then everything fell out of and it smashed. The impact wouldn't have made a difference.
And the fact that the owner of us saw the kachila, this was like this, and made a macha, and they said, no, it's fine. The fact that he knew it's...
he's not moichelet.
You should, right, but I'm saying he could have mitigated, he could have said no, he could have said, something else. He did have ideas, so...
Okay, I'm saying, but what's he supposed to do? He's got to move.
The guy showed up, and he's not going to...
The guy showed up. The guy tells you, that's Ma'aseh B'chol Yom. The guy comes in, where's your blankets? Oh, no, it's perfect, I got it, don't worry. We do this all the time. This is the way it's done. Right? It's not, you're not going to outsmart the guy.
And the basin was, I wouldn't have used it now because he never did that. I was just tying it with the blankets.
Right.
I would have made a nafkamina, so...
Right, okay. So, L'maisa, it seems like that you're only really chayiv to the extent that the pshia was a mazik to begin with. So since the pshia was in the mazik was only on the scratches, that's the extent that you could be chayiv. All the cases that we discussed, the pshia was, if anything, more than the oinus had happened, right? The pshia was also that it would get stolen, or the pshia also was that it was going to die, or the pshia was also to the point that it could have gotten completely destroyed, and Itaka ended up getting completely destroyed. But this is an interesting case, because the pshia is less than the oinus. The pshia was only on scratches. Does that make you chayiv even for an oinus of destruction? And the dayan was not convinced that that would be the case. I mean, it's totally in how you learn, but basically, it could be you would be potter. Now,
Rabbi said that he got rear-ended and it came out. So the question is, did they put it in there correctly? How much of an impact should have caused that? If it was a major impact,
right? I mean, the assumption of the story was that the damage that ended up happening was an oinus. That's the assumption of the story. I don't know why. I don't know the mitzvahs what happened, but the assumption of the story is that basically that part they did right, and really it was an oinus that happened. Someone just hit them, and that also caused the damage. The shaila here was that the tchilas of pshia should be mechayiv them because they weren't responsible in the first place. Legabi other area. There was another similar case, also, even a further example of this. The case was that there was a guy who was a party planner. I had this case from the dayan. There's a guy was a party planner, and he was planning an event for a moisid, for an organization, a parlor meeting. So what do you bring to the parlor meeting? You bring all the TVs and the electronics and the iPads and the swipers and all this stuff. And then he also brought the food. So he had in his car some expensive iPads and screens and stuff. And then in the back, he had a couple trays of sushi and meat and all that stuff. So, which is also expensive. Lemaisa, he stopped the car to somewhere. He didn't lock the car. He went inside to go to the back, whatever rest area. Comes back and everything is gone. So he tines like this. He says, Lemaisa, I was pasheya on the electronics. Because the derech ha'olam is, if you leave electronics in your car, you have to lock it, and I didn't. So he's accepting full responsibility for that. He says, Bilgabi, the meat board and the sushi platters, says, it's not the derech ha'olam to lock your car if you're going inside with some meat in your backyard, in your back seat for 5 minutes. There's not a pshia on that.
But the person would have left it in the car on a hot day, and it would have gotten spoiled. He would have.
No, I don't know. Right, but it sounds like that wasn't the case. It sounds like he's in and out. It's a 10-minute thing, and he's going to deliver it. Right. So that's the question. So do you say tchilas b'pshia on some of the items makes you an chayiv even on the other items?
You're an agent for that event. You're agent on behalf of that mitzvah to bring everything there. Whatever's in your car, whatever you're responsible for, you should be responsible for. It's not that one brought in this and that's why you're...
Right, now, the pshia definitely came because of the oinus definitely came because of the pshia. But it wasn't considered a pshia at all on these items. That's really the question. I'm going to do whatever I'm held responsible to do, but I don't know that I have an achrayas.
People steal sushi boards when they're sitting next to electronics. The guy didn't break in for the sushi board, but once he was there stealing the electronics, he took the sushi board also. He's going to take lunch while he's stealing the electronics. So it's a chesed in the shmir. You're right. Normally a sushi board doesn't need a shmira. This is a good shmir, looking for a shmir. But if you put dollar signs on top of the sushi board, you can't say that the sushi board is mashumar either. It's not a good shmir for it. You can't. If I leave a bicycle in my back,
Meaning I have a sign up on my window. Come break in. So basically, right? So. Free sushi, right?
Having a bag with expensive stuff and also paperwork that's important, but not. So when they steal the bag. It's inside the bag.
You're saying that it's one pikadon, it's one chiv shmira, and I was pasher my chiv shmira. Or you're not saying that. You're just saying is that you have to take a circumstantial look at it. The circumstantial look at it is that
the car is normally mishumer, even if doors are not locked. Why? Because most people are not breaking into a car. They get sushi, but once they see if you phone next to the sushi and they're breaking into the car to get the phone, they're going to take the sushi. So the sushi is not mishumer at that point either.
That's far. Meaning, tchilas b'pshia v'sofer b'oinus on two different items. Maybe he's not chayiv. L'chayr, there's no svar to mechayiv that if you were tchilas b'pshia on one thing and there's a sofer b'oinus on the other, then
Cost.
what?
This is
But over here you're saying is that the scenario depends. What type of what's the scenario of the sushi? There's no one answer. Is putting sushi in a car, meat boards in a car with no lock. Is that shmir? It depends. Is there a reason for them to break in? It depends where you are. Are you in one neighborhood or the other? Are you, are you more vulnerable to breaking in or less vulnerable to breaking in? If you're in a position that you're more vulnerable to be broken in for whatever reason, then it's not a shmir on that either. That's what you're tiny. That's a pretty good svara. I hear that. So that would be that would be a svara as well. Now, like this, the way we explained it, actually, was just listening to a shir, and I realized, and it comes out that it's really tuts dadim and Rabbi Akiva Eiger, actually. What the whole lumdus of tchilasa b'pshia v'soifa b'oines is. Why are you chayiv? L'maisa, what ended up having was an oines. The way Rabbi Akiva Eiger asks it is even more, is we should say the rule that we always say, which is hamoitzi mechaver olav haraya. You have to prove that this has anything to do with me. There's an oines here. Why am I chayiv? L'chayr, we should say I wasn't posheya on your thing. It was an oines completely, and you want to say it's my fault? Moitzi mechaver olav haraya. Why don't we say that? So it seems to be two tzdadim, and we actually said both tzdadim, but we had some proofs to that back and forth. And it's one side is that when you're posheya on something, you really chayiv right away. Because you're negligent. You're a shomer. You're negligent on my item. It's like you can't do that. You violated. You put my item in danger. You put my item in danger. You posheya. It's complete negligence. You made my item. You put it in danger, and since you put my item in danger, memela, you really owe me back a new chayfetz. It's like it's now. If you could give it back to me, give it back to me. But if you can't give it back to me, you're chayiv for the original pshia. We said according to that side, if let's say there's a fluctuation in value, when you were posheya it was worth $10, and when it was nanas it was worth $15. How much would you pay? The 10 or the 15?
So based on that, it would be the 10.
Based on that, it would be the 10. The Nesivus says you pay the 15. So we proved from the Nesivus the other side. So the shir I was listening to, Hitaka says, yeah, the Nesivus holds like this, but Rabbi Akiva Eiger is not convinced. Taka tutzdadim. We didn't know that Rabbi Akiva Eiger. We were just saying the Nesivus. But Rabbi Akiva Eiger Taka is misopek. Or, no, that's not the lumdus. The lumdus is that, the lumdus is different. The lumdus is that when you're posheya, you're neglecting your obligation, and as such, anything which ends up happening because of that, you're chayav for. Because you took a chayes on my item, you took a chayes to protect it, you didn't protect it. Because of that, something happens. That all that is part of the neglecting of the shmira. So it would make sense you pay the 15. Okay. Now here's an nafkamina. We've been talking so much so far about it's going to be a job complicated, but it's kishmak. We've been talking so far about gross negligence. Mamish prishay, you left the door unlocked, you did things like this, okay? And we've been talking about a shomer chinam. But there's another category called a shomer sachar. Shomer sachar is a paid watchman. I'll give you a very simple example of a paid watchman. Paid watchman means you have any benefit from it. So what if someone gives you money to watch? Someone gives you money to go to Eretz Yisrael. We're going to talk about money next week. But someone gives you money to go, you're traveling, can you bring me cash to Eretz Yisrael? Like you said, $9,999. Right? So could you bring this to Eretz Yisrael? Fine. Now, by the way, you tell the guy, listen, I'm short on cash. I'll have some. Can I use it in the meanwhile? And obviously, when I get to where I'm going to get to, I'll make sure that he gets that much money, right? Or something like that. He says, yeah, no problem. So you become now a shomer sachar pashtus. I don't get ribbis shilas, but you be pashtus. You become a shomer sachar on the rest because now you have a benefit from having the money. So now you're a shomer sachar. Okay. So now, or anytime you have a benefit from something, anytime you have some sort of benefit from something, then you become a shomer sachar. Shomer sachar is not only chayiv on gross negligence. Shomer sachar is chayiv even on gneva v'aveda, even on a lesser of a level. So he wasn't negligent, but he didn't shomer it completely the way he was supposed to. So what happens if tchilasa b'gneva v'aveda v'soifa b'oines? So it's not tchilasa b'pshia for shomer chinam. It's tchilasa b'gneva v'aveda v'soifa b'oines. Let's give a very, very simple case. The Gemara talks about you're a shepherd. You're a shepherd, and you left the house. Well, let's take our case. We discussed last week. I take your item, I take a wad of cash, I'm taking jewelry. I take your jewelry, and I put it in my drawer. In my bedroom, I think that's a safe place. L'maisa, I don't lock the doors, and l'maisa, there are cleaning ladies and goyim that are coming in and out of the house, so I'm potter. But if you're a shomer sachar, you're not potter anymore. If you're a shomer sachar, you're not potter. Because shomer sachar has to watch it more than what's regular. You have to now make sure it's in a protected place. And if it ends up getting stolen or lost, it's your fault. So what happens if the door was unlocked, you let people in and out of the house, and in the end, it wasn't the cleaning, it wasn't this, the house gets, mugged and someone came, it's a shuggal einus. Are you chayiv or not? You weren't pesheya, but you also didn't do your shmir properly. David, you're in my case, what I'm saying? So you weren't pesheya mamish, but as a shomer sachar, you didn't do your responsibility. Because a shomer sachar is not allowed to just get away with, oh, that's the derech ha'olam. Shomer sachar actually has to make sure that it's in a good, proper shmira.
Would it have made a difference?
It could be that if it would have been in a safe, it wouldn't have gotten stolen. Right?
So then it's clear, isn't it?
Well, not by a shomer chinam, because a shomer chinam, I took the jewelry. Okay, fine. I put it in my armoire.
That's what we're talking about.
If I'm a shomer chinam, a free watchman, and I put it in my armoire,
But that's not what we're talking about.
I'm talking about a paid watchman. Right. So a paid watchman is not enough to put it in an armoire. You have to put it, it's not enough kedinatri inchi. I did whatever's normal. No, you have to actually make sure that it's in a safe place. You didn't make sure it's in a safe place. But the thing is, that's not what ended up happening. What ended up happening is some crazy thing that robbers came in, and that's not normal.
But money, once they allowed him to use it.
Not money, I'm talking jewelry. I changed the case. Money's more complicated.
But if it would have made a difference, it's obvious that he's not liable.
If it would have been in a safe, it would have been protected. But I'm not assuming that that thieves are really coming in. It's an unlikely type of scenario.
But you're a paid watch. You have to do it. You have to go to the higher level anyway.
It's like list of mizuyin. It's like it's a shuggal einus.
So is he liable?
So this case.
Wouldn't this be telling him to keep beggars?
What?
Isn't this telling him to tzaddik?
Oh, so this suchar would be telling the two tzaddim. Now what? If you say that the pshat is that when you were pesheya, then you became chayiv immediately. You weren't pesheya here. You can't say I'm chayiv immediately. So on that side, I would be part. But if you say that the pshat is the way we were going most of the time, which is that by not fulfilling your achrayas, you ended up now, whatever ends up happening is your problem because you're a shomer, like you're saying, then you'd be chayiv in that case. And this taka could happen because shomer sachar happens more often than you would think. Right? Because any benefit you have from the item. Right? So nowadays people going away, Pesach, watch my stuff. Oh, but, listen, if I need to use it, yeah, no problem, whatever. Right? Like
if you borrow a car.
What?
If you're borrowing a car.
In your shoyl even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even more, right. So I'm not saying you're borrowing it, but you're getting some sort of benefit from it. Right? There's like a benefit from it. But so that would be interesting. I actually have a question. I was borrowing someone's car, and they told me that their car recently got broken into twice. So, L'maisi, he doesn't lock the doors to his car. He just leaves his car open. He would rather, instead of breaking the window, they just come in and take the door. I don't want to lock the door. So I wasn't so comfortable with that, L'maisa, because it's not my car. So I was just wondering, what happens if I would lock the door and then they break the window? So I'm doing a better shmira, but L'maisa, are you chayiv for that?
I would say so.
What?
I would say so.
Why? Because
he told you specifically not to. He said, don't do it.
Right. But L'maisa, where's the pshia on that? It's like
The pshia is locking the door.
The pshia is locking
the
the
guy
door.
says because the guy twice already got broken into, and the first 2 times they broke the windows to get in.
Right.
That's where the pshia in North Miami Beach, leaving a car locked with the pshia.
That's apparently what he's saying.
That's right.
What? I don't know. What? The pshia is good for they're not listening, right?
Is pshia measured by the belt, or pshia is measured on
The pshia is measured by the velt. It's not you could not your inchi. That's the klal. So that's what the Gemara says. If you're a shepherd and you went up for lunch and then something happened, you're potter. But a shomer sachar, even if you went for lunch and it's normal to go for lunch, you're still chayiv, because then you should have hired someone else to come and take your place or something.
If the majority of North
That's not
Miami
called a
Beach,
pshia.
Right.
That's not called a pshia.
Even though you left it unwatched. You left it unwatched, Lamaisa.
so the majority of North Miami Beach locks their cars, regardless of their window.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, Lamaisa, most people do. Now, I don't know if most people have that car, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't get the whole thing exactly, but were they breaking in to get something or to try to steal the car? I mean, I don't know.
Usually to get something.
Right. So that's trying to steal. So just don't leave anything in the car. I mean. But and I was wondering that case. Okay, so next week what we talk about is ksafim. Ksafim einlam shmir al bakarka. The Gemara says that money, cash. There's only one way to be shomer cash. The only way to be shomer cash is in the ground. So there's 6 seifim in Shulchan Aruch about it. It's really not so negea. We'll see exactly the chiyuvim, but basically it doesn't seem like it's so shaykh. And then we'll wrap it up for the zman on this. Okay, shkoyach.
Sure.
Press X in the corner. See it's done. End.
Billions of dollars for kids.